What would you do if you really believed that God had an amazing person for you out there? Like an amazing person who he created just for you. What would you do if you really believed it? Would you chill? Would you just go through life every day just focusing on bettering yourself and having a relationship with God? Even if God said, "You know what, Noel, I have somebody for you, but you're not going to meet him for 10 years." Would you be okay with that? Would you be content? Would you just say, "Okay, you know what, God, I'm going to focus on you, and I'm going to therefore focus on you, and you're going to better me and prepare me for that person"? Or would you be out here trying so hard to find him? Trying so hard to find him. God told me there's this person for me. I'm going to find him. I'm going to create him. I'm going to work with him and mold and shape him. And I'm going to find somebody with potential and make that into the person that he is. We want to have that relationship, but we don't want God to be a part of it. We want God to be here and our boo and us, and it's us, and we're doing us, and God is nowhere. He's not a part of that. I mean, yeah, we may pray together when we going through some hard times, and we arguing and we pray about it, but that's it. We're still, everything else we doing in this relationship don't have nothing to do with God. God is not up in it at all. That's what we want a lot of times. We want to make our own rules, and we want God to be in our relationship when it's convenient. Please help us, heal us, help us to stop arguing all the time, or change his attitude and change his heart. But then we're doing stuff that doesn't even honor ourselves, nor does it honor God in the relationship. We're giving people parts of us and parts of ourselves, and then we can't understand why we so crazy about them, and why when we realize that's not the person God has for us, we lose our minds. We're crying, we're heartbroken, we just can't believe it. We don't know how we're gonna get out of bed, and we just can't make it another day. Now you caught up in somebody that God may not even had for you, but you made him the person just because you want him to be that person. I think that you really start to believe that you're supposed to go through some kind of struggle. Like when you get through the struggle, that's how you know that's the one. Because y'all done struggled. Y'all done been through some stuff. You the ride or die. No. Ride for Jesus. Ride for God. Go hard for that. Because that's something that's never going to end. That relationship, that love, that's never going to end. That's something that will be with you. God will be with you beyond this life. So why don't you go hard and ride for him instead of riding so hard for your man and your relationship? And die to yourself. Die to yourself daily. Okay? Instead of riding and dying and being down for your boo. Ride or die for the person that died for you. How about that? What? Do you really think that God's best for you is to have to argue and struggle with somebody and turn them into something and change them and mold them and shape them? Do you really think that that's what God's best is for you? Do you really think that that is what he wants for you? And to teach somebody how to be a man, or teach somebody how to love, or teach somebody how to respect you. I really believe that the man that God has for you will come to you and already have those characteristics. No, he's not going to be perfect, but he will already come to you as a man of purpose, as a man who understands that, who has a relationship with God already, who loves the Lord, and who can lead and guide you and be an example. You can't expect God to bless your relationship and allow it to flourish and be this beautiful thing, which is what he created marriage to be, and he's not in it. When the road gets rocky, you want to run to God and see if he can help you get out of the situation. You can be in a relationship and things are not going right, and you ain't called on God the whole time y'all been together. You've been sleeping together, and you've been good with that. You ain't called on God. One time when y'all was in the bed, you've been arguing and making up, and you ain't called on God. Y'all been doing y'all straight up and down. And you've been trying to teach him how to be a man and tell him what's right and wrong and proving stuff to him and arguing with him. And he's been yelling at you and cussing you out and not calling and doing all that. And it's a constant struggle. And then, boom, something happens. And then all of a sudden, God, please fix this. I love this person. I really, really want it to work out between us. You know, you know my heart, but please, you know, come through for me, come through for this relationship. And we can't do that. We can't expect to be having a relationship with someone, and God is not in it, and then we want him to come and save the day, when really this may have been somebody that he didn't even have for you from the jump. Because a lot of times people will show us who they are before we even spend years and years invested into them. You know, this ain't Love and Hip Hop. I know for sure I'm not trying to be like Mimi and be with somebody for 15 years and all of that. And then finally, I've wasted 15 years of my life when God may have had an amazing somebody for me who he created for me, who wants to marry me and who loves and respects me. But I've spent 15 years trying to change somebody. Or a year or 2 years trying to change somebody, only to find out that I can't change anybody. God is the only person who could change somebody's heart. You can see potential in everybody, but it's not your job to grow that person when you see that potential, when there's no foundation there. Because without a solid foundation, it'll fall apart. Stop making decisions based on our emotions, because emotions are fleeting. You know what I'm saying? It's been times where I remember, one guy that I met, I saw him, when I was in school at Howard, and then I went back home to Atlanta, and then I saw him again, and I'm like, it's fate. We've seen each other twice. Oh my gosh, this is the person that God has for me. What are the odds that we would see each other twice back to back like this? And then he ended up being one of the worst people that I've ever dated. Lied, just didn't respect me, did not treat me well, and all the while I'm thinking, yes, it's fate. We saw each other twice, one time in one city, one time in the other city. This just has to be it. We have to stop making decisions on our emotions, on impulse, because emotions are fleeting. Emotions come and go. You can't base a decision of wanting to be with somebody or wanting to make a move with somebody, or you may be in a relationship hanging out with somebody that's not your boyfriend or girlfriend, just because you feel some kind of emotion, because emotions come and go. We can't continue to let our emotions control us. Everyone thinks that you're supposed to go based off of how you feel. No, you can't always act off of how you feel. You may be upset with your boss. You're not going to cuss them out. You control your emotions. Just because you love somebody and you want, your emotions are telling you, yes, I want to do more with them. I want to share certain moments with them. It doesn't mean you're supposed to do it. A fruit of the spirit is self-control. You're in a relationship, you may be upset with somebody. It doesn't mean that you cuss them out and you argue with them, because you can't believe that that's the kind of relationship that God wants you to have, where you guys are always battling. At some point, somebody has to have self-control. Somebody has to have peace of mind. Somebody has to have control over how they feel. Not everybody that you connect with, everybody you come into contact with, it doesn't mean that it was meant to grow. It was meant to grow into a friendship that is everlasting. It's meant to grow into a relationship that's everlasting. That's not what that means. We're not married. Married is everlasting. That's something that you fight for. It doesn't mean that this your ride or die and the person can do the worst thing in the world to you and you sticking it out with them because you see the potential in what they could be, or you love the idea of y'all being together. An idea just isn't enough. An idea is nothing without a plan and without any purpose. It's just an idea. They could be great. That's a great idea. But how are they treating you? What's the plan? What's the purpose? So why waste your time if you know what you want and where you want to go? How can you move forward and go anywhere without a purpose or a plan? That's just like saying you are going to work every day and you don't know why. Why would you be spending time on the phone with somebody every night, going on dates, hanging out with somebody, and you don't even know why you're doing it? You're just doing it just to take up time and space. When really you could be spending that time with God, getting to know Him, having a relationship with Him. We have to stop expecting men to lead us who don't have a relationship with God. How can you want all this love and support and someone to be there for you and be your sounding board and be able to give you sound advice and input on your everyday life when they have no anchor? Where are they getting this from? The things that they're saying and the things that they're feeding into your spirit, where is it coming from? If they have no relationship with God, are they leading you and giving you advice and helping you and guiding you and telling you what to do based off of their own ideas? They have to have an anchor. God has to be that anchor. Any man that you date, you should want someone who has a relationship with God and a direct connection to Him, because then you can trust Him to lead you in the right direction. Better yet, who's your anchor? Because at the end of the day, outside of a relationship, you still have to have an anchor. You still have to have that relationship with God and be okay, even if it was just you and God the rest of your life with no relationship. If it was just you and God for the next 30 years, you should be at the point where you would be content with that. Because when God does send you the person that He has for you, or you do start dating and courting again, you will never be afraid to walk away, because you will only accept God's best for you. And you will be so tight with God and have such a close relationship with Him that you will automatically be able to discern if that's who God has for you or it's not. But if we're not anchored in anything and we don't have a relationship with God, we're making decisions of who we should date based off of our own selves and our own ideas. And we can't think that the best that we want for ourselves is God's best for us, because sometimes we don't even give ourselves what we deserve. We aim lower just because we so desperate to have a man and be with somebody, so we'll accept this little bit of that and this little bit of that. And some bad situations we go in relationships, it's because of us. It's because we want to create these fantasy relationships that we see on TV, and we want to do it on our own. And so we suffer, we go through things fall apart because we're doing it on our own and we're not all the way in with God. We just want Him to come through and be a part of the relationship when it's hard and it's rocky, and to help us and to heal us and to fix our broken hearts. All the while we're in the relationship, God is nowhere to be found. Not for real. We're picking and choosing what we want to do. We go to church together, but we having sex. We want God to allow our relationship to flourish and grow, but we living in the same house and we're not married. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. Because if a man really honors you so much, he can have self-control. He's not going to pressure you and make you feel bad about not wanting to have sex, because he honors you as God's gift and God's treasure to him.